Hey guys, Kevin here from New Peak Performance. Today's Finish Awesome Friday. We want to just discuss about manageable changes. Okay, these are the things that you should be really concentrating on if you want to make long-term changes to your lifestyle, to your training, to your nutrition, to all these different aspects of our life that we're trying to control day by day. So the reason that we utilise manageable changes, as I say, there's a plethora of reasons, but it mainly comes down to sort of three key attributes. As always, from New Peak Performance, we try and concentrate on three main topics to sort of discuss with you and why you should be going into more manageable changes rather than the wholesale changes that you may see around this time of year. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities to do sort of crash diets, programs that are out there, the sort of the 8-12 week blasts going up to Christmas or coming out of Christmas into the new year. All these sort of aspects of major change, of completely readdressing your lifestyle to kind of get to where you want to be. Now, in theory, that works really well because what you think of is that you see the end goal and you have your beginning goal where you are right now, and that particular blurry line in between you're not too sure about. You rely on professionals who are working in the field to fill in that blank for you so that you can get from A, you pay your money, and then when you come out the other end, hopefully, you'll then reach point B. But actually what these programs and courses should be really talking about is that they want to show you the sort of the top end of that particular effort, that particular amount of work that you're going to have to do to get to where you want to be. But in realistic terms, you're going to go probably through that 8-week period, through that diet, through that program, and do it okay. But when you come out the other end, that's the important part, because what normally happens is you go through the extremes. When you come out the other end, normally there's a big crash. You normally either come out of it and think, that was hard, I'm going to, just take a couple of weeks off and eat pizza and do what I want to do again. You're not going to have learned anything through those 8 weeks, apart from that, it's very hard work and you've been pushed very hard, but you haven't really learned, aspects of what is actually going to be the long-term success of that goal, or a mixture of a lot of different things, or you might have, pick up an injury or anything else from there. Now, I'm not saying that these programs and that these diets are not good, because that is certainly not what I'm trying to say. I'll never dismiss anybody's program. I never dismiss anybody's diet. But generally speaking, unless they're a top coach, you probably find you won't get top information out of that. You won't really learn anything, and that is what you need to be trying to do when you do anything. When you do a program, when you do a diet, it's actually about learning how it affects you, what you're doing, and why you're doing it, really. And that's what all good programs should do. So there are plenty of great coaches out there, plenty of great programs. Don't feel that they are a scam or they're not going to do the job, but you need to understand that when you go into it, you're not going to really go from point A to point B. Really, you're going to come out of it just past point A of learning something quite indefinitely, but that's only going to be 8 to 12 weeks, and then the rest of that time is going to be made up from what you've learned and building upon that. So when we talk about manageable changes, what we want to talk about really is about why they benefit us and what they're good for. So they're easier to keep track of. So when you make manageable changes, when you make the one change or the small change that's going to build up to many changes, that builds up to the greater goal, what you'll find is that they're easier to track. Okay, too many changes, obviously, if you try to concentrate on 5 or 6 different things at once and they're all big changes, it's going to be too much to control. And then obviously too big a change normally comes out the other end with frustration or a big crash at the other end, and you obviously fall back off the wagon and everything's gone wrong, and you start from square one again, or even past square one, which a lot of people do once they go on these diets and hard exercise regimes. They normally come out the other end and sort of go almost the opposite way, worse than they were when they actually started. So smaller, more manageable changes are easier to track, they're easier to see and work on every day, and to build into the next stage, which is then building habits. So when you're building little habits, when you're doing those little things, they build up to the greater goal. Okay, so if your goal is, for example, to lose 2 stone of weight, then obviously you might think, well, what I have to do is I have to exercise more regularly, I have to eat better, and I have to regularly weigh myself to make sure I'm getting to where I want to go. So those 3 things need to change, but you don't need to change everything within them. You might say, well, I'm going to track my calories, I'm going to exercise twice a week, and I'm just going to basically, sleep a little bit more in the evenings when I can. If I can control those things and I can do those on the regular, there'll be ups and downs, there'll be slip-ups, but if I can control those things, then I can go through from there. It might just be one particular thing that you need to change, maybe drinking more water, hydrating yourself more. But generally speaking, those little changes, they're a lot more manageable, and you can actually see them working through there, and then they build those habits. And the great thing about the manageable changes, rather than making wholesale changes, if you change absolutely everything in your lifestyle, everything in your diet, you live the sort of the perfect lifestyle that you think is correct. What you normally find is there's nowhere to go. Okay, once you're training 4 or 5 days a week, once you're eating nothing but lean meats and vegetables and barely any calories, what you find is there's no wiggle room, there's nothing to go by. What manageable changes should do is allow you then to make progressions or regressions depending on how successful or unsuccessful that change is. So if it's too big a change, you need to be able to step it back a little bit. If it's too small a change and it's not making any difference, you need a way to progress it, to add more of that change to your lifestyle so that you make a bigger impact into what you want to do. So when you're making more manageable changes, when you're taking it a step at a time, when you're looking at the smaller little goals that build up to the bigger goals, the bigger picture of that end result, what you'll find is that you can then go forward and make those changes. Now, I use training as the easiest one I can use as an example. So if, for example, at the moment you don't train much at all, try training twice a week, just twice a week, just 30, 45 minutes twice a week. Build up over a couple of weeks with that. Once you've done that for a couple of weeks, then the next stage is then to build on to adding a third, progressing that and taking it from there. You've seen that you can do it, you've been consistent with it, then you add a third week. Now if you're happy with that and you can push yourself, then go with that, build up your time, build up your progressions from there, work harder in your sessions, and you'll probably get the goals that you want to anyway. But if you want to go for a 4th day a week, you can do that. If 3 days a week was too much, drop that down to 2. You need to be able to make the changes, progress it and regress it, depending on how you're feeling and how the results are going for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. It was a pretty brief thing. I'm trying to make these videos a little shorter, a little more manageable for you guys to actually digest and take in. Any questions or anything else, just drop them on in the comments below. Have a great weekend, guys. Just be awesome. I'll speak to you soon.